Greetings of peace to everybody. Welcome to our health show here on Shura TV. I'm Dr. Azar from Genesis Medical Center. We have a number of nice topics to cover for you, and we're happy that we're back on air. We took a little bit of a spring break. Now here we are on the second day of summer, and we're back to discuss some, hot topics in medicine and in health, so that we can all be aware of what's going on around us. Thank God, we wanted to first start with a little bit of a COVID-19 update. Here in California, as of June 15th, all restrictions have been lifted, and people are going about their life in a very normal way. Establishments are allowed to mandate their own masking requirements if they need to, but it is not a government requirement anymore. So thank God that that has happened. And with the advent of these openings, of course, we've had an increase in vaccinated individuals, which has also led to a decrease in the incidence of COVID in and around us, and we're happy to have that. Nonetheless, if you are not vaccinated, we encourage you to get vaccinated and go and take care of that, because it's very important. There are some new strains that are called the Delta strain, which people are seeing. Just recently, I had one colleague of ours from a hospital up in northern LA County. We had a 22-year-old female who was pregnant, unvaccinated. She passed away from COVID just last week. So COVID still exists, but we have to be careful, and we have to be safe, and we have to, especially if you have young ones that aren't vaccinated and you do attend big crowded areas or congregations. It might be wiser to keep the mask on in those big congregations where you don't know whether or not you've been vaccinated or not. So it's very important to, because you can't assess who's been vaccinated, who hasn't, and who's been traveling or not. So it's important that in those big congregations, if it's big crowds and you don't know who's who there, it's better to be safe and mask up for the sake of your children and for the sake of those who are unvaccinated. So that's what it is. Hopefully it'll get better and better, and there's lots of vaccination programs and encouragement going on in and around the state, as California and across the nation as well. We've seen a correlation where the highest percentage of vaccine people in a state, the lower their COVID rate. So the states that are getting higher vaccination rates have lower COVID rates. So these things are becoming obvious with the data. So I encourage you to go ahead and get your self taken care of and talk to your personal physician and get vaccinated and stay safe from COVID. And then the other issue is, if you're traveling abroad, there are many countries where vaccination has not occurred in a wide state. So it's important for you to know the state of the country you're traveling to, in terms of its vaccinations and the percentages, because COVID right now, especially in Asia, is running rampant again in the Central Asian countries or South Asian countries. You heard India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, all these countries over there in Central Asia and South Asia are in the grips of what they're calling their third or fourth COVID outbreak. So it's important that if you are traveling, that you make arrangements, and I would avoid those countries myself. It would be very beneficial to study that pattern before you go and travel. So it is a summertime; people are traveling. The United States. If you're in the U.S., there's many places to go here in the U.S., and I would limit that travel to places where COVID is low. So that's something which is important to keep in mind. Summertime is here. A lot of people are, out and about, getting sun and getting vitamin D. But it's also important to keep in mind that most people will get some sort of sunburn or heat stroke or or dehydration. So these things are things that you should keep in mind, especially if you have elders and kids amongst you. So we have to make sure that in the summer heat, in this environment, that we keep people from too much sun exposure, because heat stroke is a real thing, and too much sun and too much heat uh, can affect your body in a negative way. And some of the things that you might look for a heat stroke are maybe headache, confusion, a little bit of nausea, rapid sweating, you know. So these things can be avoided if you kind of limit your time in the sun and keep yourself from getting too hot, and move to a cool, cooler place. It's very important to do that. Um, Also for children, same thing for children. Use your proper SPF sunscreens and sunblocks so that they don't get burned on their skin. It is a big health hazard. Your skin is the largest organ in your body, so it's important to protect it in these summer days, and where we have a lot of sun exposure. They might be in the pool, they might be out at a water park, they might be at a amusement park, and they'll get that little pink, sting, and that'll put your health at risk. And you have the UVA and UVB rays that burn your skin. So we have to make sure that we avoid these types of first degree burns. Sometimes people like to sleep under the sun. They'll lay down and just bask in and forget about it. And then, that increases your lifetime risk of getting skin cancer the more sunburns you get. So the lucky number is lucky number five. If you get five or more sunburns, you almost double your risk of skin cancer. So that's very important to realize. So avoid getting sunburn, especially for your children or elders that are living amongst you. Wear sunscreen, wear protective clothing. There's a lot of SPF protective clothing now, and wear a hat. Try to stay in the shade, and if you are going to be in the sun, limited to 10 to 15 minutes at a time, and then take a break. That's very important. And also with that comes dehydration. Dehydration is something where some people forget about. They forget to drink enough fluids, and it doesn't. And you're in the summertime. You're sweating, you're losing a lot of fluids, but you're not noticing it. So it's very important to drink plenty of water. Carry a water bottle with you. That has become very customary now. Everybody carries a little bit of liquid with them, and they drink it. And then also if you're traveling or having a road trip or anything like that, don't forget to pack enough water for everybody, and keep track of it, and make sure that everyone's hydrated. That's very important to keep in mind. Summertime is a very fun time for people. People are out of school, and they take breaks, they travel. So we don't want these things to affect you in a negative manner. The other thing that we see a lot of during the summer is food poisoning. A lot of people will get one or another form of food poisoning. Bacteria grow in the warm, moist air and environments, and especially if you leave your picnic food or things like that out, it goes bad much more quicker than normal temperature times. So because there's heat, there's warmth, these things multiply. The bacteria on the food multiply, and if the food is left usually out in the sun and out of the refrigerator, and these bacteria multiply in extremely quick numbers. And when that happens, then food storage becomes an issue, and it becomes a health hazard, because a lot of these foods are out in the sun, and the bacteria grow, and then the kids or someone will come and eat that food. And always remember, especially if you're doing barbecues, keep the raw meat away from other leftovers, kind of separate it. and your chicken, your beef, your barbecue, whatever you're doing, make sure that you're using sanitary conditions, and keeping things separate, and washing, and not leaving them out in the sun too long, especially your salads and seafoods and things like that, because these things can all cause food poisoning when someone comes back from their football or soccer or playing in the fields, and then they come back and you have your picnic table there, and you have food that's been sitting there for maybe an hour and a half or a couple hours now, and it's been in the hot sun, and the bacteria has grown, and now people eat it and they get food poisoning. This is a very common occurrence over the summer and summer picnics and places you go. So it's very important to take care of your food and your food storage, and where you set up your picnic table. Try to avoid setting up your picnic tables in the sun, directly in the sun. It'll be better if you can put it under a tree or in the shade, or have some type of temperature regulation at least. If not, keep that in mind, because that's very important. So those are some things. The other big issue that we see in the summertime are, a lot of mosquito bites. The heat comes, you get bug bites and stings, and that's also because of the increase in temperature and the increase in the number of bugs. So those bugs, are spending a lot of time outdoors. It's warm, and you're outdoors, so the probabilities increase of you getting stung. They get itchy and annoying bites. And there might be ticks. You might live in a place where there's endemics of ticks that have Lyme disease, so you have to be careful and find out what your environment has. Usually your health authority or your county health authority will have a list of things that are common in the air in your environment, so you can look that up online and see what you would be exposed to. The best thing to do would be to protect yourself with some type of insect repellent. If you have an insect repellent, and every time you plan to go out or out for extended long times, you can put you could put the repellent on, or you can put, long sleeve and long, if you're not wearing the shorts and you want to put long pants and things like that. That would also decrease the chance. And then also, if you have standing water around, mosquitoes love standing water. So if you have any kind of reservoir or pool or anything with standing water, that increases the chances. So it's better to get that water circulating. Um, you know, and if you happen to get stung by anything, keep an eye out if you're going to get any hives or any tightness in your chest or any dizziness, swelling of the tongue, anything like that. That's would be an allergic reaction that you need immediate attention for. If you're known to have allergic reactions, then it would be important to talk to your doctor, so you can have at least an EpiPen, epinephrine pen, with your loved ones or with yourself, and carry one just in case you get a overreactive situation with your body in response to a sting. So that's important to know those things. Any tightness in the chest, any type of shortness of breath, breathing problems, then you need to use that EpiPen, for lack of a better, outdoors. So you got to have that with you. So those are the things that we have to be cognizant of. It's important. Other than that, summertime's a fun time. People do a lot of things. They go whitewater rafting if it's possible. They do a lot of outdoor activities. It's the days are longer. We have daylight saving, so people have more to do, and the more people do, the more prone they are to physical injuries as well. People do water activities and things like that. It's very important to be cognizant of that, and don't put yourself at unnecessary risk. For example, if you don't know how to swim, learn how to swim, number one. But if you don't know how to swim, and you're at a situation where you're offered to go to a river that's fast and you're rafting, you have to kind of balance the risks and benefits of that. It's important to keep your safety in mind, and your safety of your offspring and your parents and other people that you take care of. That's very important. Common sense is very uh, um, important to keep you and your family safe. You know, and then of course, there's different types of if equipment. People go jet skiing and people go all types of water sports. So it's important that you have a good control over that equipment and know the ins and outs of the equipment. And if you don't know it, don't try to master it. Have the professional person or the teacher or the thing. Um, so uh, so these are things to keep in mind. The other thing, because of the heat, a lot of people, and the sun's rays, eye damage. It's important, very important. The sun's rays aren't just damaging to the skin, but also to the eyes. And these UVA and UV of developing different eye damages. So it's important for you to have sunglasses that have 99 to 100% coverage of the UV rays. So it's important to do that. Make sure you have sunglasses when you're out in prolonged times in the sun. That's very important. And we don't want our eyes to be damaged either. The other thing that we see with the heat and the sports and the activity is a lot of athletes' feet or athletes' foot, as they call it. Um, you know, Fungal infections thrive in warm and moist environments. A lot of people get this, and it's important for you to be aware of it. Your feet will feel blistered and cracked, and it causes you know discomfort for your feet, and they'll look red and scaly. So you know always wear your shoes. Don't go barefoot in places where you don't know the hygiene, and keep your feet clean and dry. That's very important. Keeping your feet clean and dry, that'll protect you from athlete's foot. And same thing with what they call jock itch. Same thing. You get fungal infections in the groin area for teenagers and older gentlemen, and that's something where you can keep yourself clean, dry, and hygiene, and shower up, and don't let the moist air and the heat affect you in that negative way. So these are the things that kind of we have to keep in mind. Otherwise, summer is a great time to enjoy the sun and enjoy the activities, especially now as COVID is decreasing here in the US and in California. We have more time to go outdoors in park environments and enjoy the sun and enjoy the activities, the summer activities. Have fun, but be mindful of these things. It is important for your health. We don't want to cause any type of distress to you or your families or yourself. It's always important to have common sense and protect yourself and take all precautions and necessary safety measures so that the quality of time you have and the quality uh, of of the picnic or the activity that you're doing doesn't get decreased by injury or illness or these issues that can cause distress to you. With that, I think that covers the basics for the summer health issues. Again, with COVID, be careful if you're in large crowds and you don't know the source, you don't know the people, and you don't know if they're vaccinated or not. I would recommend having a little mask and having, protecting yourself. But otherwise, enjoy yourself and be mindful. Use your common sense. Don't do anything that puts you in at risk or in danger of risking your health to anything, and everything will be good. With that, I'd like to thank you for attending and listening, and we hope that you can like and share our videos. And if you have any comments or questions, please write them down in the questions and comments area, and we'll get back to you. And we'll have more topics as the summer extends and goes on, and we'll have multiple topics for you guys and different health issues. Hopefully, you've enjoyed this and you take some benefit from it. And we'll see you again next week. Thank you very much. Bye bye.